Joy of love. Welcome to Radio Maria Ireland. Welcome to everybody on Facebook and YouTube as well. Lovely to have you with us, and thank you for joining us on the radio here, Radio Maria Ireland. Indeed, your Catholic radio station, and a gentle voice of faith and prayer, and hopefully a little formation and a bit of uplift spiritually in your home. So nice to have you listening in, nice to have you tuning in, and always good when you can interact and share with us and connect with us and send us in your comments, send us in your feedback, send us in your prayer intentions, and indeed any little insight or that by way of a little spiritual nugget. Perhaps indeed you've had a life to the full moment, as Eileen likes to describe it in her show this evening, and share it with us and let us know. We're here at 089 467 2000. 089 467 2000. You can email us info@radiomaria.ie. The 089 number, by the way, is a text and WhatsApp only because we have the phone to hand, and so can't answer that as a phone call anytime. We're on air anyway. So 089 467 2000, text and WhatsApp. Give a call. Margaret is very kindly downstairs volunteering a little of her time this morning, to come and answer the phone, because we have 4 lines on that telephone and it can be hopping at times. So please do give a call. We're here on 014-123-456, 014-123-456. So please do telephone and get in touch and have a chat with us here. And again, if you'd like to write to us, St. Anthony's Business Park, Ballymount Road, Dublin 22 is the address to write to us here. We do love to hear from you in writing too, and we do our best, as I say, to reply in writing, indeed, to all the lovely messages that we receive, and indeed to text back or to email back, and to respond as best we can to all of your communication with us here. And you can imagine it's a pretty busy spot, and if it's something you think you might like to volunteer to do, to come in along and help us out by answering the phone or other little tasks around the place for an hour or two here or there, you'd be very welcome too. And what you could do, nice idea, if you'd like to combine that with a little bit of adoration, because we have inaugurated and this time passed over the season of Lent, and we hope indeed to continue it next week and onwards into the future, is continuous adoration between Wednesday morning 10 a.m. Mass and Saturday at 2 p.m. So if that's something you'd like to volunteer to come in and spend an hour or 2 or 3 or an overnight with the Lord, please do so. Again, get in touch with us on those numbers and we'd be happy to sign you up there and connect you in with Paula and John, who coordinate all of that lovely prayerful activity here. So as I speak, there is prayerful adoration going on downstairs here in the studio, and no doubt rising up through the microphones and out to you, indeed bringing blessings to the world. So that's here, and again, we would love if you would like to visit us here, where you can find us very easily opposite the Red Cow Hotel, famous landmark as it is. They built a huge extension there, and in fact they extended just before the pandemic. They lifted it up another couple of floors, so successful has it been. And then the pandemic hit and the car park was empty during all the restrictions and lockdowns. It was kind of sad to see new build and not being put to use. But now I see it's quite well occupied and quite busy over there again, which is good to see indeed. And so we're looking literally across the road at the new extension on the end of the Red Cow Hotel. So geographically, that's the best place to find us. And you can take the Lewis out as far as the Red Cow. It's about 8 to 10 minute walk, depending on the length of your stride. And you have to walk back under the pedestrian tunnel up the middle of the Nace Jewel carriageway. It's kind of an odd sort of journey. And on the right hand side, you'll see the Red Cow across the road. And you go up over the footbridge, head for the Red Cow, come round the bend, around the side of the Red Cow, and we're facing then the gable end of the Red Cow. So if you're walking and journeying here, not too difficult to find. And you'll be very welcome to come for a Holy Mass. Maybe let us know, just in case we might be a little bit overcrowded. Not of late, indeed, it hasn't been an issue at all, which we're delighted we're able to manage the throughput and the flow through of visitors. And it's been very heartwarming to meet many wonderful souls and friends of Radio Maria who love to come and put faces on the voices and meet us in person. So there's an option for you as well. We have been suggesting a Saturday is a good time for many people who'd like to come and do a little pilgrimage and come and spend a few hours here. And you might like to join in prayer on the microphones too with us. Very simple, as so many people do indeed. So there's an open invitation for you. Give a call on 014 123 456 if it is you'd like to join in with us here and come and pay a visit. Our trip to Maynooth is on the 27th of April. That's a Wednesday. Wait, no, is that a Wednesday? Today is 13 plus 14. Yes, it's a Wednesday. And we'll be meeting at President's Arch in Maynooth College at about 11:30. We've restricted the numbers just so we can manage the groups in terms of the travelling around the college and having a look and visiting the place. So I'm not sure where the numbers stand. Ruth will fill you in on that a little bit later on. I'm sure we'll join the team as to how that's doing. But give a call again if you'd like to put your name down for that. We have I think quite a number have looked to come along and join us. Delighted with that. And please God, in the month of May, we have a trip to Knock planned too. A Radio Maria pilgrimage to Knock. We've no idea how big or small it'll go. It'll be during a weekday, so it may be just a small little group. And we have permission to celebrate Holy Mass just before lunch, I think it is, in the Apparition Chapel. And if it is that the numbers are in excess of capacity there in the parish church, maybe instead too. So we'll see. We'll see. So it's just a nice little way of bringing together perhaps those who might otherwise like to say to come to Dublin, but maybe would come as far as Maynooth in Kildare, or perhaps to Knock in County Mayo, and meet and greet us all there as well. That's another nice little idea. So do keep these in mind. Keep an ear out for that date in May. I don't have it on the top of my head. Ruth will certainly have it, but give a call if you'd like to find out and come. I think it's a Tuesday in May we have planned for our trip to Knock. 27th of April is our trip to Maynooth, and the second week of May leading up to the 13th, so 13, 12, 11, 10, 9 to the 13th of May will be our Mariathon and our celebration of our birthday, our 7th birthday here at Radio Maria. And as you know, if you're familiar with it, each year on year, we have a tremendous time celebrating all the blessings and gifts and graces that have come to us through Radio Maria. And it's a moment when we invite you very much to join in with that joyful communion of saints, if you want. That is our faith-filled family here on the radio, and bringing to you then all kinds of lovely guests and maybe former presenters and former staff members too. We invite them to come along and come on the microphone with us. And let's see, we share with you some of the international news, and we invite you then to donate and to participate in helping, not us here, because we need it. we're still sort of trying to keep our heads above water with your very kind donations. But here, even though we are in need, this is a lovely moment when we give away everything we receive. We donations that come for the Mariathon go to help young and new Radio Maria stations begin elsewhere. And after Easter now, please God, we'll start in earnest giving that a good shout out and explaining to you and sharing with you some of the great needs and plans of the world family of Radio Maria in spreading this tremendous gift of the radio all over the world. And so if you're new to Radio Maria, it's quite exciting really to learn about this just massive apostolate and ministry that's going on, a gift from our Blessed Lady for our times without doubt, and that each radio, no different from ours, is seeking to preach the gospel to the ends of the earth with a priest director, lots of gallant volunteers and faithful souls who are enlisting and enrolling in the work of Our Lady in bringing the gospel to peoples far and wide in their own languages. So lots more on that. Again, please God, after Easter. Looking forward to that's a lovely moment in the year. It really is, because the fellowship that we enjoy with other radios. And really the point there is that we have been at the receiving end of exactly that endeavour. Most notably through Radio Horeb, which is Radio Maria in Germany, and their kind listeners and their listeners' donations. They really are a massive radio station now, and very, very generous. And we have been part of their Mariathons, and I've been over there myself, giving a good plug for Radio Maria Ireland. They've been so kind and so generous, and it's been the ordinary donations of the wonderful people of Germany that have allowed us to begin and have allowed us to continue. Most extraordinary. And not alone Germany, of course, but our friends in Austria and in Italy particularly too, who are punching above their weight, let's say. They have excess donations that they're able to share with the world family of Radio Maria and help weaker stations, have helped weaker stations like us to grow. We are now in a position this year where the world family said, okay, we're cutting the apron strings, and we're hoping indeed that you will find your own feet, and now that you have established yourselves, to make of it your own and to seek to try to give back in some way. So that's our invitation to you during the Mariathon in May. Lovely idea, I must say. And I just love that idea of giving from what you don't have or what you need yourself. That's the idea of the widow's mite. She gave all that she had and she needed that to live on. And there's no doubt the Lord didn't see her short in her need thereafter. And the Lord remarked on it, because the wealthy had given of their extra, of their surplus of what they didn't necessarily need, and in the end would miss it. But here the widow gave from all she needed to live on. Extraordinary faith. And she could easily have given out about the excesses of the temple and look at all the money that's been spent on this, that and the other thing, and said, well, my donation, I'm going to keep this because I need it myself. That wasn't her outlook. Amazing. So that really, really teaches us about generosity to those in need. And as has been witnessed to indeed through many gestures of goodwill towards the millions of displaced people in the Ukraine in these days. It's wonderful to behold that great assistance that's going there, and people travelling there. I see the Pope's cardinal, who's in charge of Caritas, is travelling there again as a kind of envoy from Rome to sue for peace in that way, and to bear charitable alms to the people of the Ukraine and all who are displaced there. And I heard in Vatican News yesterday, very sad, that one of their centres had been attacked and that 5 people had been killed, family members of volunteers too. Well, I'm sure they're volunteers, they're workers with Caritas. And here they are bringing charity into this situation and yet risking their lives. Very sad to hear that should be the outcome of war. So we keep praying for peace. Now, thanks to Father Billy Swan. He was chatting earlier with you on the breakfast show and taking us through, as I've been doing with you the last number of Chatechesis, the Triduum and the celebration, the solemn celebration of the 3 days leading up and just journeying us through the Last Supper, through the Passion of Christ, onto the Vigil Mass of the Resurrection. And it's just such a profound time of prayer and a profound time of understanding and immersing ourselves into the huge mystery of the Word made flesh, Jesus taking on our human form, embracing our condition in all things but sin, and allowing himself to be taken and accused unjustly, to suffer all of the abuses which the world can offer, all of the suffering, all the physical suffering, as an indication of the extent of his great love for us. This is the measure of the cross. You know, it is that we Catholics can be accused of worshipping an instrument of torture, the veneration of the cross on Good Friday. Yes, it is a horrible instrument of torture. It was, because it was death not so much by the wounds inflicted, which were calculated to be, to maximize the pain, but death ultimately by asphyxiation, because it is the lungs that struggle to breathe out when the muscles are all pulled and extended through the nails and being fixed to the cross. It's the struggle to try to rise up on the cross in order to breathe out and to breathe in, and yet inflicting all this pain through the nail through the feet. And each of those, the positioning of those nails, as that book describes in great detail. A doctor at Calvary, I mention this every year, the nails in the wrist and in the feet, puncturing through a main nerve in the body. And you know what a bit of nerve pain is like. If you've ever had a toothache, it's extremely painful. And so the movement of the wrists and the feet then in trying to breathe, afflicting the body with pain that's unimaginable because of the nerves that are afflicted. It it doesn't even bear thinking about. And yet it's good for us to think about it. It's good for us to make those stations of the cross. It's good for us to reflect on the extent of the suffering of Christ, so that we can reflect on his love. And again, the unfathomable nature of his divine mercy through could he have been afflicted with even more pain? The betrayal of one of his own disciples, the denial by St. Peter, and the abandonment by many of the other disciples too, the ones who were closest to him. So is there any pain that we have been afflicted with that Christ has not suffered? And again, it's this idea that he has taken on all of our pain, all of our affliction. So if it is that we have been victims in some way of hurt or a wound, be it physical, mental, again, abuse of any kind, of torture, of betrayal and denial, again, abandonment, the kind of mental or emotional pain that comes through all kinds of hurts and the brokenness of our human nature and the fracturing of relationships. And even if we are innocent victims likewise too of such suffering, looking to Christ is what doesn't take away the memories, doesn't take away the wounds, doesn't it's not a magical thing that they suddenly disappear or go away, but that in his pain we have someone we can relate to. In his suffering, not just, I suppose, someone who's compassionate, who suffers with us, but rather someone who, more than that, has suffered for us. And his wounds are the ones that heal us of our wounds. Again, there's always scars. There can be very harsh or bitter memories associated with any wounds that we've received, and that can be very hard to bear. And yet keeping close to Christ and his cross and reflecting on the measure of his suffering, innocent indeed, we gain a certain measure of peace. We regain a certain equilibrium. We learn bitterly, perhaps, through our suffering too. We grow perhaps in exercising compassion towards others who have suffered likewise, and it has a way of strengthening us again in union with Christ and by his grace alone, because the natural human reaction is to seek to clench the fist, to seek revenge, to seek its anger, isn't it? That's a natural human reaction. And sometimes that anger is justified, and where justice needs to prevail, again, if it's a false accusation, if it's any form of abuse or violence, these things need to be brought to justice. But the ultimate justice only subsists in the judgment seat of God, and our hope and our prayer, and the only answer in the end, is that of mercy. Yes, justice ought and need to be done, most certainly and emphatically, and indeed situations addressed where there is any danger to anyone else who might become victims of the same violence or aggression or abuse or whatever it might be. Very, very important to address all of those matters, humanly speaking. But the path to healing, a deeper healing, is that of reconciliation, is that of grace, only to be drawn from the cross of Christ. So every home, every good Catholic home should have a crucifix on display, a crucifix somewhere at hand which is visible and can be seen and can be looked to and sighed towards at times. Say, Lord, I can't do this. This is beyond me. Again, you know that lovely story of St. John Bosco and his mother. His mother had enough. She was fed up dealing with these truant boys and all the stresses that went with that. He looked to the cross and he said nothing. She looked where he was looking up on the wall. There's a crucifix actually up on the wall near me here as I'm looking. That was the answer. And all she could do was sigh and say, look, for his sake, I'll go the next step. So, not that I need to put up with it, not that I'm asked to be a doormat, none of those things. No one is asked to do that. No one should have to put up with abuse or ill treatment of any kind for any length of time at all. That's injustice, and there's no question ever of just silently offering it up. There are times indeed where everything needs to be offered up in some way, but again, whereas any kind of injustice or again abusive situation, that needs to be addressed firmly with help, and certainly with divine help to be able to work our way through it towards the path of mercy and reconciliation. Because vengeance and strict justice without mercy, again, it leaves us a little unbalanced. So it's divine mercy that's at stake. So I touched in on how this evening, now I'm looking forward, please God, to attending the Chrism Mass for the priests here in the Pro Cathedral in Dublin is where it will be. Please God, I get a chance to attend there and renew my own priestly vows with Archbishop Dermot. So I'm working here in the Dublin Diocese. And tomorrow then we'll have Holy Mass at 10 a.m. in the morning for Holy Thursday, but the evening Mass is the Mass of the Last Supper, and the first Mass, of course, and the institution of the Most Holy Eucharist with the disciples. Take and eat, take and drink, this is my body given up for you. And after that Mass of the Last Supper, the Lord, there's a procession to the altar of repose, usually a side altar in the church. And any parish I've been in, it's always been a lovely, solemn, beautiful moment where we sing the Tantum Ergo Sacramentum, the beautiful hymn of St. Thomas Aquinas, this sacrament that we venerate and we adore, Christ remaining with us to the end of time. And so that journey to the altar of repose is a symbol of Christ's journey from the table of the Passover to the Garden of Gethsemane. And we seek to keep vigil with him there. I was always very moved, certainly in the parishes I've been in, those who would, large numbers of people would come and spend time with the Lord in prayer. And we would conclude with night prayer of the church. So we'll do that here tomorrow. We've done this every year that I've been here as well. It's just a tradition I've carried with me, and one that's part of the church. It's not anything to do with me, but it's just nice to lead it in prayer. So between 10 and 11 tomorrow night, we'll have our own Mass of the Last Supper here on Radio Maria at 7 o'clock. Sorry, I beg your pardon. The Chrism Mass tonight at 7 o'clock, and the Mass of the Last Supper at 7 tomorrow as well. And we will then share with you live here from the studio between 10 and 11 our holy hour before the Lord. And that will be incorporating readings and little meditations from John chapter 13 through 17. I think in previous years we've managed to read all of the 4 chapters, 13, 14, 15, it's 5 chapters. Excuse me. 5 chapters of John's Gospel. Again, his dialogue and discourse with the apostles at the Last Supper. And we'll conclude that then at 11 with our examine and night prayer, which is a normal part of our programming here too. And that will actually conclude for this week our adoration before Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. And we'll repose the Blessed Sacrament. And all will go quiet, so to speak, in terms of adoration. And it's Friday then at 3 o'clock is the time to commemorate that great moment of mercy, the Passion of the Lord on Good Friday. And why is it called good? You might ask, students often ask that. Well, it's good because through this awful low point in our history, deicide, the killing of the Son of God, death itself is vanquished and conquered. Jesus has come as the new Adam to completely reverse the fall. He has, it's, how is it described in the Exultet? Oh, happy fault, unnecessary sin of Adam that brought so great a Redeemer. Again, God enters into the mess. He enters into the pain and the woundedness of our world and utterly transforms it beyond all expectations, so that through his wounds ours are healed. And so we'll commemorate with you tomorrow. We'll have the Stations of the Cross. I think they're on twice tomorrow. I'll just look up the times for you again. And at 3 o'clock we will have our celebration of the Passion of the Lord. We'll join in for that too and share it with you. So again, if it is that you're not able to attend and you're at home, or you're otherwise unable to get along, we'll certainly pray that with you. So we'll be delighted indeed to share that with you, those most solemn moments as well. So do please join us. I'll just get the times now for Good Friday as well. So 7 o'clock tonight for our Chrism Mass, 7 o'clock tomorrow night for the Mass of the Last Supper, and 10 p.m. we'll keep vigil with the Lord tomorrow night. For Good Friday we'll have the Stations of the Cross at 12 noon and at 6 p.m. I know in parishes how very well attended the Stations of the Cross are every Good Friday. It's most remarkable. And people who, I just remember going around the church for the stations and seeing the people there. People say, where did all these people suddenly come from? Very impressive, I must say, and very moving. So 12 and 6 will be the Stations of the Cross for you tomorrow. So it'll cross over, or sort of cut across our normal programming, and so it should. And again, 3 p.m, the celebration of the Lord's Passion. And in the evening then we'll go to St. Mel's Cathedral in Longford at 9 p.m. So instead of our 9 p.m. rosary, we'll have prayer around the cross for Good Friday. And indeed, that will displace the usual 9 o'clock rosary. So again, a fitting moment indeed to just draw us into the liturgy, which would take precedence even over our other beautiful devotions, including the rosary. So important indeed that we maximize these moments together, really. So very good. We'll take a little pause for some music. If you want to get in touch with us, please do. Please connect in with us again. 089 467 2000 is the text and WhatsApp, and give a call on 014 123 456. Now again, another lovely rendition of the Tantum Ergo that Tara has chosen for us. Floriani sacred music here. So our Tantum Ergo. Thanks, Tara.
30 seconds and a jingle, Father.
Hi, join me, Ruth, every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. on Join the Team, where we will speak to one of our volunteers about the wonderful work they are doing to help share the gift of Radio Maria Ireland across the country. Tune in to find out how you too can help in our mission to go out to the whole world and proclaim the good news.
Welcome back to Radio Maria Ireland. Lovely version there of the Tantum Ergo. Some seriously deep voices there singing. Down in adoration falling, lo the sacred host we hail. Lo o'er ancient forms departing, newer rites of grace prevail. Faith for all defects supplying, where the feeble senses fail. It's an English version there of the Tantum Ergo. To the everlasting Father, and the Son who reigns on high, with the Holy Spirit proceeding forth from each eternally, be salvation, honour, blessing, might, and endless majesty. And you know the verse in response that accompanies that. We'll have our usual holy hour with benediction and singing those beautiful words a little later this afternoon between 5 and 6 if you'd like to join us. That'll be on Facebook Live and YouTube Live actually as well too, and we'll pray with you there as well. The verse in response, you have given us bread from heaven, having with it all sweetness. Omne delectamentum in se habentem. Delectamentum is delectable, delightful. Habentem habite, to live, in whom lives all delight, is that response. And the prayer that accompanies it too as well. Habentem Deus qui nobis sub sacramento mirabili. So let us pray, O God, sub sacramento mirabili, who in this wonderful sacrament left us a memorial of your passion. Grant, we implore you, that we may so venerate the sacred mysteries of your body and blood as always to be conscious of the fruit of your redemption, who live and reign forever and ever. So in our adoration of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, we're mindful of the fruit of the giving of his body and blood unto our redemption. So such a gift and a mystery, and such a great privilege that we have as Catholics to participate so intimately with the divine life, and hence the great task left to us, not to hold on to this selfishly, but to give it away, to seek to bring others to this great gift, to make it a point of relishing and cherishing the holy sacrifice of the Mass. And again, if it should strike us as it ought to, so powerfully, to get to Mass every day. I mean, is there anything more precious? Is there anything more worthwhile? Is there anything, to whom else shall we go? What else could you turn to? Again, as we enter into these solemn days, it reminds us of the awesomeness of this mystery and the extraordinary measure of God's inexhaustible love. And we seek to turn away to other trivial things, or find our invest our heart in things that just fade away and entertain or satisfy for a brief period. What are we doing? Wasting our time, or misdirecting our time at when we've been given this amazing gift. So thanks to Andres Gribushka, who's in regular touch with us here from Latvia. He says, my prayers and my intentions for the whole of Radio Maria Ireland and all your ministry. I wish you and the team a blessed Easter time, which is already approaching. May God give his peace for everyone in this world. Thanks, Andres. Lovely message to receive from Latvia there. He's a regular listener to us as well. And a big shout out and a word of thanks as well to Vincent Smith, Vincent is such a great prayer warrior and a great lover indeed of the priesthood and the priestly office and ministry, and especially this week, Holy Week, of course, the inauguration of the priesthood and the Chrism Mass that's to come this evening. Just extending his greetings and his prayerful association with us too. So thank you for that very much, Vincent. We're so grateful for your marvellous support of all we do here at Radio Maria. So again, the timing of our ceremonies and that, just to share with you that it's 7 o'clock this evening for our Mass of the Chrism Mass, and that'll be coming to you from St. Patrick's Cathedral in Armagh. And 7 p.m. again tomorrow evening, this time from St. Eunan's Cathedral in Letterkenny, the Mass of the Last Supper. And at 3 o'clock will be from St. John's Cathedral in Limerick for the celebration of the Lord's Supper, or His Passion, on Good Friday. So do please make a note of that and join with us then. And the Easter Vigil will be at 9 p.m. on Holy Saturday, and we'll head back to St. Patrick's Cathedral in Armagh for that too. We will go to Dublin for the Stations of the Cross, the cathedral there, and we'll go to Dublin Cathedral, the Pro Cathedral, at 11 a.m. for Holy Mass on Easter Sunday, and of course Knock Basilica at 3 p.m. as well. So we'll be travelling around the country, north, south, east and west there to the various cathedrals, as we have done every year, and sharing with you. But easy times for you to remember: 7 p.m. tonight, 7 p.m. tomorrow night, and 9 p.m. Easter Vigil as well. The usual times, and of course on Sunday 10, 11 and 3 p.m. So I do hope you can attend, you can switch everything else off and just connect in and listen and open your heart. If you have the text actually with you, maybe you have a missal. What's very popular is the Magnificat publication, and they do a separate booklet for Holy Week, I've noticed, and it's filled with lots of little other meditations and other associated prayers, so that you can almost go on retreat, really, and put aside other things that might otherwise be necessary, or put aside a certain number of distractions and just sit and dwell with it. And again, like that, if it is that you're confined at home in some way, or in a nursing home, or in prison, or wherever you might be, that you're not able to get out and about like you might, health mightn't be good for you at the moment, here's something very, very wholesome and very deeply spiritually nourishing for you to do, to participate and join in with us here on the radio for the Holy Week ceremonies. And we'll be accompanying you, in and around all of those as well in the coming days in a very prayerful way too. So it's a lovely, lovely time of year indeed, and one to really relish and enter into, and to see ourselves as part of the drama. Been speaking about that idea, and I don't mean theatrical drama, I mean the real life stuff of the suffering of Christ and His death. And if ever there was a time when such deep prayerful association with the Lord was needed in order to bring about reconciliation and peace, surely our times fit that moment too. Just as in times gone by, no doubt, great crises coming and going too, and great need for prayer. So now, thank you for your companionship here on the radio and for joining me for our Chatechesis today. Very grateful to you as well on Facebook and YouTube, listening in and watching in too. And thank you for your comments and supporting messages there as well. Now, just 12 o'clock, let's pause for our Angelus and our Midday Prayer.